For people who want to know what is the Keith Andrew Network, the whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove them to still amount to something. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Keith Andrew Network. It is episode 959. That's right, this is episode 959. As you just saw, we have today's special guest, Ryan Seale. Thank you for being with us.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Keith, for inviting me.
Oh, the honor's all mine. For people who want to know well about you, you are a upcoming voiceover actor. And you have done some acting as well.
I have done quite a bit in this last, so I guess I'll just go ahead and say, last full year I've been working at Crunchyroll for doing all sorts of shows. Like throw a ball, you'll probably hit a show that I've worked on, ranging from One Piece, Kaguya-sama, Trapped in a Dating Sim, Attack on Titan. Just a bunch of them, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. So yeah, and for the this is the first year I've been really finally hit the ground running. But I've been doing this for 7, and that's been a journey.
Well, let me ask you. The first question is: have you ever worked on Dragon Ball, and do you want to work on Dragon Ball?
I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I've never worked on Dragon Ball, but yes, I would jump at the chance, as well as any other show as well. But man, coming from that is I'm part of that era. All right, that's my show. Watching Gohan destroy Cell, and that's one of those bucket list ones that I would love to get the chance just to be a Walla guy in the background getting blown up in the background of a city. That would be a dream come true. So hell yeah, I'd love to get the chance, but I'm so thankful to be doing what I'm doing right now, so if it ever happens.
You mentioned you were in Attack on Titans.
I am.
So I heard of it. I never seen it. Don't judge me. But if you
how dare you?
But if you put Bruce Falco's music to it, I bet it makes it 100 times better. And for people who don't know who Bruce Falco is,
are you talking about the guy who does the Dragon Ball score?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you said, oh, okay, that's how you pronounce his last name. I will say, this is probably going to get me flamed. I love his score. I do. I get why. I understand why, and I'm not mad about it. I've grown to love the other scores too. In fact, I've got an appreciation out of the original Dragon Ball scores coming into Super and even Z. I've loved hearing that, but again, that is my childhood. I grew up on that score. You know what I mean? I grew up listening to Vegeta's badass walk-in music or Gohan's him going to Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan 3 score. I grew up on that. That's what I would annoy my parents with. So it holds a special place in my heart, and it always will. But don't let it get it twisted. I love all the other scores too that are now more official.
No, absolutely. And it's amazing that you can use Bruce's music for anything. And you type up Bruce Falcon or Bruce Falco, however you want to pronounce it. But it goes perfectly. There's one for Transformers someone made. They made one for Star Wars. They made one for Superman where he has Zod in a headlock. And it's really good. And I think there's a Batman one. But it's the type of music that it doesn't matter what you use it for. It goes with everything. And, my other friend, Ron Reiserman, he actually does the score from X-Men the animated cartoon, and by the way, that is coming back. Unfortunately, Scott Summers, the actor who played Scott Summers, passed away, but the cartoon is coming back, so maybe they can just write that part out or someone, or find someone who
I don't know if
sounds
you can.
similar.
I don't know if you can get rid of Scott Summers though. That's come on, man. Like that's Cyborg.
That's true, but I mean,
It's not Cyborg. My bad. Correction. That's Cyclops. That's I'll get flamed for that if I don't get that one right.
no, absolutely. But the reason I bring it up is, there's certain cartoons and certain music. You talk about scores. You talk about I'm probably gonna get fun of maybe because I'm butcher last names. But the guy who did the Batman trilogy, the good one, not the crappy one, the good one was Christian Bale. That music, it's amazing. And then you look. Oh, go ahead.
I think that's, if I remember correctly, I think that's Hans Zimmer.
I think it's like Hans something.
I think that's Hans Zimmer, my man.
Yes. And also the score from Inception with Tom Cruise. That was fantastic.
I feel like you're a big fan of Hans Zimmer.
Well, he's not bad. He also did, what was it, King Arthur. That was pretty good, too.
I think, if I remember correctly, he also did Pirates.
Pirates of the Caribbean?
I think he did.
News to me.
I think, if I remember correctly, the original trilogy. Yeah. He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He did do that. Yeah.
But it's absolutely funny how when you first make a first movie, the first ones are always the best ones. Jurassic Park, Transformers of 2007, X-Men First Class. Even though people bitch and complain about X-Men Origins, I liked it. I
like anything with that motherfucking actor. I'll watch anything with him. I even love the samurai one. It's awesome.
I was just gonna say that the second one I wasn't crazy about, but I liked I don't know if you ever saw the alternative ending where he's on the airplane and then the girls. I think her name was like Blank or something.
He gets the Wolverine outfit, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I love Wolverine. Yeah, of course. I went hype. I was like, come on, bro, put it on.
And there's actually a funny blooper from the X-Men movie where they had Spider-Man run in. I don't know if they did that for laughs, but Spider-Man the X-Men movie would be really good. It's Tobey Maguire and Hugh Jackman.
Now, I'm going to have a problem here. I'm an Andrew Garfield man. I love me some Andrew Garfield. He is. I was raised on Toby, but I fell in love with Andrew Garfield. I love the third one now too. Well, he's great. He represents Peter Parker, but goddamn, Andrew Garfield can act. That man can. Woo! When I saw him in the movie that came out, I came out my seat. It was great. It was so great.
But with that being said, I think that had the perfect ending. They shouldn't make another 4, 5, and 6. It's like you had, and now they're talking about Secret Wars and Secret War, and it's like, okay, they're gonna bring them back, and now this is the perfect time to bring back Tobey Maguire for the Spider-Man 4. A couple years later, he mentioned in the movie, right? He's like, are you married or you have a girlfriend? It's complicated. There you go. Now you can do Spider-Man Unlimited. 10 years, 20 years.
I think they're going to do Miles Morales. Because out of Secret Wars, I think that's when the Ultimate Universe came into the canon after the first Secret Wars. I think they're going to come with Miles Morales. And honestly, if you haven't played that game or read those comics, like, bro, don't shit on Miles Morales. That kid got heart. Like, at first I was like, no, man, I like my Peter Parker Spider-Man. But when I read his stuff, and then that last video game, man.
No, it's uncensored. You can say whatever you want.
I cried, guy. I cried. I'll admit it. I cried on that game on the PS5. That is amazing game, and just like the story of Miles Morales. I'd love to see a Miles Morales, honestly.
But let me ask you, what was more shocking? That they killed Aunt May to save everyone else? Or Bruce Wayne, I know you gotta say Batman, Bruce Wayne being unmasked by the Scarecrow?
I'm gonna be real, dude. Batman's my favorite superhero of DC. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero of Marvel. Um, broke my heart killing that May. That one broke my heart, especially because she knew. I've seen Batman unmasked like 40 times. Like, I'm used to it now. Like, it's whatever. Like, okay, cool. It's whatever, man. Like, you're Batman. You have money. Grow up. Like, but this is Peter Parker, you know? Like, this is just this kid trying to protect his hometown. That man's like, big time. Like, okay, whatever. Everybody else knows the DC alter egos, except for like maybe one or two. But like, dude, come on, it's Batman. Like, I hurt more for MA. Like that one hurt.
So actually, it's funny you mentioned Ant-Man. There's this new TV series. I think it's on Hulu or Netflix, where the guy who played Ant-Man is really good in it. I think he's like a psychologist or something.
I haven't seen a lot of Ant-Man. I saw the first movie, so I would not know what you're talking about.
Don't worry about it. But while we're on the subject of Batman, then we can go to the next subject. There's this little fan-made video on YouTube of what if Batman was a Green Lantern. Have you ever seen it?
Well, I can just give you a straight-up answer. He has been a Green Lantern. Not a what if. Like, no, I haven't seen it, but that happened. Like, that's a thing. He took the ring from I can't remember, from somebody. I think the ring chose him. He wore it and he outwilled the ring. So like the ring eventually kind of said, nah, bro, I'm gonna go find somebody else. So he's wore, I believe, every ring color out there in the Green Lantern universe. He's even been a white one.
Except for pink. Batman never wore pink.
I'm gonna find it.
So the other one I want to ask you is, based on the show, have you ever worked with people with disabilities, and are you willing to work with people with disabilities?
I work with people with disabilities all the time, and hell yeah, as someone with it myself, like for your viewers, I have Tourette's. I deal with Tourette's. As a voice actor, you can just imagine what that's like. But I have Tourette's. Having a disability doesn't mean that you can't do what you want to do. So the answer to that question is just no. Like I would work with disability people all the time, and I do all the time. It's not even like it's like another Tuesday, man. It's just not even a big deal. They're people too, Keith. They have names, they have feelings, they have their own world and their own lives, and who cares if they have a disability? Like they're human.
No, you're absolutely right. Now, do you consider yourself an inspiration for people with disabilities?
Man, ooh, I don't know about all that. I would hope, but I don't really talk about it a lot. I grew up, if we're going to talk about this now, since this is the platform to do it. I grew up, I think I was diagnosed with Tourette's in the 5th grade, but I probably had it a lot longer than that, if I'm being honest with you. I was ridiculed from day one, beaten, shoes pissed in, laughed at, lost friends, dreams laughed at, ridiculed behind my back, had just school's tough, dude. Like so coming from that, I never really wanted to I wanted to make my name my own. I wanted Ryan Seale. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, I hear you.
Yeah. So I wanted Ryan Seale to represent not the Tourette's kid. I wanted to make it on my own merit. So I went and did the work. I went to therapy. I took medication. I found an avenue to take control of something that I had been diagnosed with, Tourette's. I now have the ability to put Tourette. Well, I can't do anything about it. I still got to do it. Like, I can't control what the signals send out. I can control where to put them now. Like, I used to bite the ends of my tongue to where I almost like severed. Like, it started to see the white parts of my tongue. I made manual room out for my molars and my wisdom teeth because I chewed the inside of my jaw. I watched my mom cry over me and ask me, a 12-year-old child, help me. What can I do? You know, I had to grow up real fast, Keith. I grew up real fast. And I never wanted to I wanted to be like, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to fucking do. I'm Ryan motherfucking Seale. And I would not be denied from that point. And I would never, ever, ever use that part of me as a crutch. I would never use it. That's me. That's who I am. So became a star basketball player, made all state, all region. I got college offers for baseball, acting scholarships when I graduated high school. But I fell in love, Keith. And life has a way of just kicking you right back down in the balls, man. Fell in love twice. Fell out of love twice. I lived life my whole 20s, but I never once have I ever looked at me as a person and said, I'm hindered by this. No, instead I use it to fuel me. I was like, I will not let this define Ryan J. Seale. So I'd always had a couple of dreams that I wanted to do. One of them was play basketball in the NBA. That got laughed at in high school because we all had to go around and say our dreams. And I said my three. I wanted to play in the MLB so my papa could watch me. I wanted to play NBA, or I wanted to like voice act or like do acting. All three of them got laughed at. In fact, that was the day where I got pushed out of a chair and beaten to a near inch of my life for being different. That sucked. But karma's a bitch, and that person got their just rewards. But I don't hold no ill will. Moving on. It's a hard part to talk about because that was a rough, just for being different, you know, Keith. That's just for being fucking different. So 2016, I had lost my girlfriend, was down in the dumps, and he said, you know what? I'm gonna get a real job, and I'm gonna start working towards something that I want to do with my life. I want to do something with my life. I talked to my mom, like, Mama, I want to do this, and she's like, all right, son, you gotta get your shit together first, son. I'm like, yeah, Mom, I know. So I got a job at a company that distributes beer. And I busted my ass. Worked every day. Worked hard. Built relationships. Worked hard. So I made enough to start going to classes. 2016 is where I started I lived in Denton at the time. I worked in Fort Worth. There were days where I went without electricity in the summer so I can go to class and pay for a class on that Friday to continue to grind. I didn't wash my clothes for years, dude. And people laughed at me. I'm used to that, but they didn't know. They didn't know what I was doing. And that's fine. I held that one. I held that out. To this day at my job, I'm viewed as kind of like, you know, the dirty guy. And that's because I couldn't afford to wash my clothes because I was grinding over here. I was busting ass. I was going to 2 to 3 classes a week. I was going to do improv. I was acting in black box theater. I was just doing stuff, trying to get whatever I could because I didn't have a college degree in this. Like I had to get it. I had to pay, man. I had to get whatever I could. 2020 is where I started to really see, what I needed to work on. Got in front of classes like with Josh Martin, Chris Rager, got in like with other directors in there from at the time Funimation, and just started taking it all in, listening, hanging on every word, and be like, okay, cool, getting in the booth and just rocking it, just trying to just take everything, trying to get an acting method, and just trying to learn as much as I can. Over time, that does get frustrating. I'm going to let you know. That does get a little frustrating, but what really kicked it off for me is when I decided in my heart, I do not care if I ever make it in this industry. I am having fun just going to class. And that is the moment where I kicked it in, like I turned a leaf. That's when I realized this is fun. This is not, why am I stressing? So again, I'm busting ass. I'm working hard. I'm asleep one day. Believe about this time last year, I'm in my bed, passed out. My phone rings. I'm going to give a shout out for 2 of my homies, Mr. Jacob Eisman and Dylan Mobley. My boy Dylan calls me and goes, hey, motherfucker, why don't you want to get in this? Because this is all COVID happening right now. He's like, hey, guy, do you want to get in a wall group? I'm like, what's that? We're voice acting for Funimation, like in a wall group. I'm like, oh yeah. It's like, get the fuck up. Send your information. Get your shit in right now. I'm like, yeah, yes, sir. And I'm just getting dressed and getting on my computer, and I'm like going through, and it was like, man, it all happened so fast. And I asked him about it the other day. I'm like a couple of days later, I'm like, dude, why'd you choose me, man? He goes, dude, we've all seen the way you're working, the way you're grinding, what you did. Like, dude, we needed a 5th guy, and I just threw you in the hat, and they all agreed, man. You had the right voice print. You were low and gruff, and we all saw you working. You were perfect. And I was like, oh.
But it's
from then
funny.
On out.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
From then on out, it's just hit the ground running. Every chance I get, I'm in there with a smile. Every session I get, love every minute of it. Because, I earned this, Keith. I worked, and I'm not done. Like, yeah, I've done this for a year, but I worked 7 just to get a shot. I'm not letting this go. I'm going to more classes. I'm doing more acting. Like, I want to improve. I want to be better. I want to be, I want to get better. I want to be better. I'm hungry, man, but I understand that. And I get this. I'm a little tadpole in a big pond of like A-list sharks. And that's fine. Okay. But I'm so happy just to be in the pond, I'm excited. Like, it's so fun, man.
No, absolutely. As long as you're having fun, it isn't a job and it isn't work. Once it starts feeling like a job, you hate doing what you're doing, it's all downhill from there.
Exactly. And every day I walk in, no matter what it is, it's fun. It's all fun. I don't care what it is. If I'm just going to be a walla guy for a tree screaming in the background, I don't care. I'm there. I've really walked in, had a session for like I guess whatever they scheduled. And I walked in, I said one line, and I left. I was like, "Fucking hell yeah, I'm here for it, man." And I walk out, and I don't feel bad.
Well, you did mention one person, but I do want to see if it is the same person. You mentioned Josh Martin. Are you mean the one from Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah. He ran some classes back in the day. I caught one of them where he would he's the voice of Majin Buu, obviously. Where I caught the one of his classes, and by the way, sweetest man you will ever meet. Love him. He is so good at like getting kind of like, he is amazing. Like, if you ever get a chance to take a class for Josh Martin, do it. Like, it's hands down one of the better classes that I've ever had.
Reason I bring it up is he's actually a friend of mine, and he's been on the show.
Oh yeah, that's awesome, dude. Y'all love Josh Martin, man. He's cool as shit. I play Dragon Ball FighterZ. I play it like religiously, like tournament religiously. Like I'm hand of God, I'm good at the game. I do combos on Twitter, and I tweeted him, like, because it was his voice. So I was like, hey, dude, here's this cool ass combo, and he was like, see, he was like retweeting, he was like, see, told you Majin Buu was good, and I was like, this guy's cool, man. This guy's awesome. You don't do that. This guy's cool.
No, absolutely. And, I have interviewed, Josh Martin. I recently interviewed again Chuck Herbert, really funny, real great guy. I'm trying to get Elise Bowman back on. I'm in the works of talking to Stephanie. She did the voice of Kid Goku, Teen Gohan, a lot of Dragon Ball. And there's so many other great things you can see on the Keith Andrew Network that's available on YouTube and Facebook.com. Both the last 3 minutes. Where are you heading to next?
As far as what's
on the horizon for you?
Honestly, man, if I just do this for the rest of my life, I'll be happy. I've lived my dream. As my 6-year-old, 7-year-old self is a happy kid right now. I've lived my dream. I'm living my dream. I could die right now and I'll die happy, man.
No, it's
that's it. That's it, man. Like, I'll be real. I achieved something that most people never get to achieve, is their dream.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because both of us have disabilities, and it takes, for people who have disabilities, we have to work a lot harder. Things are not given to you. You have to eat a lot of shit to say, look at what I'm able to accomplish. And then you're an example of that, because you never gave up.
And I never will. Like, I'll never lean on my Tourette's. Yeah, I have it, but there are people in the community, when I tell them that, they're like, what? Really? I'm like, yeah. Do you know how long I worked for that reaction? Like, how hard I had to work to get, you have Tourette's? That means more than these people, like, those individuals will never know how much that means for them to never know I have Tourette's, because I'll put in the work. And I went to the therapy, and I had to get over a lot of things just to be able to have a semblance of control over something I'll never be able to get rid of. But I would not be denied. I would not be denied. I was the kid that got on a bike that didn't know how to ride a bike, and because the kids laughed at him for riding training wheels, I ran into a fence again and again and again, and I would not let my mom and dad help me. Like, that's who I am. I will not be denied for what I want. So,
no, absolutely. I do have a couple of questions for you off the air, but wrapping up for fans and listeners, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network. Make sure to leave a like and a comment. If you're watching on Facebook, definitely leave a comment so both of us can interact with you and our listeners. Now, if you have questions for me, definitely leave the comment either on Facebook or LinkedIn. It's all over social media, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all social medias. Our guest information will be on the bottom of the screen. And I can't wait for part 2. Well, wrapping up. It was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. And until we meet again, thank you and have a good night.